You wake up each morning stepping into a world that never stops spinning. Messages lighting up your phone, plans crowding your mind, pressure whispering that you must do more, be more, achieve more. Yet somewhere beneath all that noise, your soul quietly wonders, is this what life was meant to be? You sense there's something deeper, a steadier rhythm, a sacred wisdom that could untangle the chaos and fill your days with peace instead of panic, meaning instead of motion. That rhythm begins with Jesus. His words were not meant to decorate sermons or sit on dusty pages. They were meant to transform ordinary living into divine purpose. Each of his lessons holds the power to center your mind, cleanse your heart, and realign your steps with the heartbeat of God. These 10 lessons are not just ancient truths. They're a spiritual compass for modern life. They teach you how to love when it's hardest, forgive when it hurts most, serve when you feel unseen, and trust when tomorrow feels uncertain. They show you that real strength is born in surrender, and real peace begins when you stop fighting for control. So pause right here. Take a deep breath. Lay aside your rushing thoughts. Imagine sitting with Jesus by a quiet sea, his eyes calm yet piercing, his voice both gentle and firm. He isn't asking you to escape your life. He's inviting you to live it differently, to see your world through heaven's eyes. This is your journey into 10 life-changing truths, 10 powerful lessons of Jesus to guide you every day. Number 1. Seek first the kingdom. When Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness," he wasn't offering a poetic suggestion. He was revealing the blueprint for a life that works. Everything begins and stays in order when God is first. Think of your life as a wheel. The kingdom is the hub, and every other part, career, relationships, dreams, is a spoke. When the hub is strong, the wheel turns smoothly. But when you center life on anything else, the ride becomes wobbly, no matter how hard you pedal. Seeking the kingdom means choosing divine priority over daily panic. It's the decision to talk to God before you talk to anyone else, to ask for his direction before you chase your agenda. It's whispering, "Your will first," even when your will feels urgent. This pursuit isn't a duty, it's a delight, because when God is first, everything else finds its rightful place. Jesus promised that all these things shall be added unto you. That's divine addition, not earned by striving, but received through alignment. The kingdom isn't distant, it's near, within reach every time you pray, worship, forgive, or show mercy. It's choosing presence over pressure, spirit over speed. So tomorrow, before you grab your phone or check your messages, pause, breathe, say, "Lord, your kingdom first." Watch how the rest of your day, your week, your life begins to align around that single sacred pursuit. Number 2, love God, love people. When Jesus was asked about the greatest commandment, he didn't respond with a list or a law. He painted a picture of relationship. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. It's the heartbeat of everything he ever taught. Love is not an accessory to faith. It is faith in motion. Loving God first means your desires, your thoughts, your energy, and your devotion are centered on him. It's not about perfect performance, but about posture, the daily turning of your heart toward his presence. You learn to speak with him throughout the day, to seek his wisdom before reacting, to pause long enough to feel his guidance in the quiet places. When you love him this way, your soul naturally expands, making room for others. Then comes the second commandment. Love your neighbor as yourself. Here's where it gets real. It's easy to love the lovely, but Jesus calls you to love the difficult too, the coworker who frustrates you, the friend who betrayed you, the stranger who cuts you off in traffic. True love requires seeing people through the same compassionate eyes that saw you when you were broken and unworthy. This love doesn't excuse wrongdoing. It transcends it. It refuses to retaliate, choosing instead to restore. It listens before judging, gives before demanding, and forgives before being asked. When you live like this, you carry God's fragrance into every space you enter. So today, ask yourself, when people encounter you, do they sense irritation or invitation? Love louder than your opinions, stronger than your pride, and deeper than convenience. Because the world doesn't need more talk about love. It needs love that walks, works, and heals. Number 3. Forgive 70 times 7. When Peter asked Jesus how many times he should forgive, up to 7 times, he thought he was being generous. But Jesus replied, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. With those words, he shattered the limits of human mercy. Forgiveness, in the kingdom, isn't about arithmetic, it's about attitude. It's not a number you count, but a nature you cultivate. To forgive doesn't mean you erase the memory or deny the pain. It means you refuse to let the wound define your worth or dictate your destiny. Unforgiveness is a silent thief. It drains your joy, distorts your peace, and chains you to moments that no longer deserve your attention. But when you release others, you release yourself. You step out of yesterday's prison into today's freedom. Think about the cross. Jesus hung there, bleeding for a crime he didn't commit, surrounded by mockers, yet he said, "Father, forgive them." That wasn't weakness, it was strength beyond measure. When you choose to forgive, you reflect that same divine courage. You say, "What happened hurt me, but it will not hold me." Forgiveness doesn't mean trust is instantly rebuilt or boundaries disappear. It means your heart is no longer a courtroom demanding justice. It's a sanctuary making space for peace. The longer you carry bitterness, the heavier it grows. The moment you forgive, the weight lifts. Ask God to help you forgive, not just once, but as often as the hurt resurfaces. Each time you choose mercy over memory, you heal a little more. You begin to see that forgiveness isn't about freeing the offender, it's about freeing you. It's about trading resentment for rest and pain for peace. Number 4. Be humble and serve others. Jesus, the King of Kings, once knelt down, wrapped a towel around his waist, and washed his disciples' feet. The very hands that shaped galaxies touched dirt and calluses. In that single act, he redefined greatness, not as authority over others, but as humility beneath them. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, he said, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. It's the quiet strength that refuses to compete for spotlight or status. It's not weakness, it's power under control. When you serve others, you imitate Christ, who used his power not to dominate, but to uplift. The world celebrates crowns, but Jesus celebrated towels. He showed that leadership begins at the feet, not the throne. The measure of your greatness isn't how many follow you, it's how many you help. The world says, "Climb higher." Jesus whispers, "Go lower," because in the kingdom, the way up is always down. Service is sacred because it mirrors the heart of God. When you feed the hungry, comfort the lonely, encourage the weary, or simply listen without judgment, you participate in heaven's work on earth. Don't wait for applause. God sees the unseen, and every act of service, no matter how small, echoes eternally. So, take up your towel, serve in your home, your workplace, your church, your community. Let kindness be your signature. Remember, the throne belongs to those who first embrace the towel. For it is in serving that your character deepens, your pride dissolves, and your heart begins to resemble his. Number 5. Take up your cross daily. When Jesus said, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily and follow me," he wasn't inviting you to an easy path. He was offering you a meaningful one. The cross isn't just a symbol you wear, it's a lifestyle you live. It represents surrender, sacrifice, and steadfast devotion, a daily decision to die to self so that God's will can live in you. Taking up your cross daily means saying no to your ego when it screams for attention, no to comfort when obedience feels costly, and no to pride when humility feels hard. Every act of self-denial becomes an altar where your will meets His. And though the cross feels heavy, it's also holy, because on that road of surrender, you discover strength that isn't your own. Jesus carried His cross up Calvary, stumbling under its weight, yet determined by love. When you carry yours through trials, disappointments, or delayed dreams, you join Him in the sacred rhythm of redemption. The world tells you to avoid pain at all costs. Jesus tells you that some pain purifies, some sacrifice sanctifies, and some burdens birth blessings. Each morning, when you choose integrity over ease, compassion over convenience, and faith over fear, you're shouldering your cross. It's not a punishment. It's a privilege to walk the narrow road where His footsteps still echo. Don't romanticize the cross. It's messy, it's hard, but it's also miraculous, because every time you bear it, a little more of your old self dies, and a little more of Christ comes alive in you. And one day, when your cross becomes too heavy, you'll realize He's been carrying it with you all along. Number 6. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Jesus' golden rule may be the simplest line in Scripture, yet it carries the power to transform the world. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's not just good manners, it's kingdom mathematics, where grace given multiplies grace received. This rule calls you to step out of your own perspective and into someone else's, to treat people not based on how they act, but on how you hope to be treated. This teaching dismantles selfishness. It challenges you to pause before reacting, to imagine how your words, tone, or silence might feel on the receiving end. When you apply it, empathy replaces ego, and compassion takes root where judgment once grew. Imagine how marriages, friendships, and workplaces would change if every person lived by this simple truth. But Jesus didn't intend it for easy moments. The true test comes when others treat you unfairly, when you're betrayed, overlooked, or disrespected. Your natural instinct is to return the same. Yet the way of Christ calls you higher, to bless those who curse you, pray for those who hurt you, and respond to cruelty with kindness. That's not weakness. It's spiritual strength that disarms darkness. Living this way doesn't mean allowing abuse or abandoning healthy boundaries. It means choosing dignity over revenge, mercy over malice. Every time you return good for evil, heaven takes notice. You become a living reflection of divine love, a light in a world addicted to retaliation. So before you speak, before you post, before you judge, ask the question that changes everything. How would I want to be treated? Then act accordingly. Because when you live by the golden rule, you don't just make life better, you make it sacred. Number 7. Abide in the vine. I am the vine. You are the branches. Apart from me, you can do nothing. With those words, Jesus reminds you that true strength doesn't come from striving. It comes from staying. The secret to a fruitful life isn't busyness, brilliance, or boldness. It's connection. When you abide in the vine, you draw life from the source, not from your own limited reserves. Think about a branch. It doesn't struggle to produce fruit. It simply stays attached. Its only job is to remain connected. The vine provides everything: nourishment, stability, growth. In the same way, when you stay close to Jesus through prayer, scripture, worship, and obedience, your soul thrives. Peace flows where panic once lived. Strength rises where weakness once reigned. Disconnection, however, is subtle. It starts when you rely more on your schedule than on His Spirit. When your faith becomes performance instead of relationship. You might still look alive on the outside, but inside, your joy begins to fade. Like cut flowers in a vase. Beauty remains for a while, but life is already leaking away. Abiding is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's choosing to pause throughout the day and whisper, "Lord, stay near. Let me stay rooted in you." It's reading His Word not as a task, but as a conversation. It's letting His Spirit prune away distractions that drain your energy and distort your peace. When you live connected, you bear fruit effortlessly. Love, joy, patience, kindness. Fruit that nourishes others and glorifies God. And even in dry seasons, your roots hold steady because they reach deep into divine soil. Stay close to the vine. Stay dependent. Stay teachable. Stay tender. Because life apart from Him may look full, but only life in Him truly flourishes. Number 8. Let your light shine before men. Jesus said, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Light, by its very nature, was never meant to be hidden. You carry within you a spark of divine purpose, a glow that can pierce despair, reveal truth, and warm the cold corners of this world. But that light must be seen to serve its purpose. You don't have to be perfect to shine. You just have to be willing. Light doesn't argue with darkness. It simply exists, and darkness disappears. When you speak kindness in a world of criticism, you shine. When you act with integrity in the face of corruption, you shine. When you forgive when it's easier to hate, your glow becomes unmistakable. Sometimes fear tries to convince you to dim your light, to stay quiet about your faith, to hide your hope so you won't stand out. But Jesus didn't light your lamp for it to be covered. You are a city on a hill, not a secret in the shadows. Your life, how you work, speak, love, and live, is your sermon to a watching world. Don't confuse shining with showing off. The goal isn't attention, it's direction. You shine not so others admire you, but so they're guided toward God. Every kind word, every honest act, every prayerful gesture becomes a beam pointing heavenward. So wherever you are, school, office, kitchen, or street, let your light spill freely. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Be the moment. Someone's breakthrough may depend on the brightness you bring. Remember, darkness never wins when light decides to stay on. So shine. Always shine. Number 9. Do not worry about tomorrow. Jesus' words in Matthew 6:34 are both a comfort and a challenge. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. He wasn't saying ignore responsibility. He was teaching you to release control. Worry is faith twisted backward. It imagines the worst before it can trust for the best. It drains your strength for today while borrowing trouble from a tomorrow that hasn't even arrived. Think of how often your mind rushes ahead, projecting fears, rehearsing outcomes, trying to manage what only God can handle. Yet Jesus invites you back into the now, where grace actually lives. He reminds you that just as God feeds the birds and clothes the lilies, He'll provide for you too. Your life is not sustained by anxiety, but by divine care. Worry whispers, "What if?" Faith answers, "Even if." When you surrender your tomorrows, you make room for peace today. Prayer transforms panic into perspective. Gratitude shifts your gaze from what's missing to what's already given. Each time you choose trust over tension, heaven breathes new calm into your soul. Remember how Israel received manna in the wilderness, just enough for each day. When they tried to hoard it, it spoiled. God was teaching them dependence, not deprivation. The same truth applies now. He gives you grace one sunrise at a time. Tomorrow's strength will come tomorrow. So when fear about the future begins to rise, pause and whisper, "Lord, I trust you with what I can't see." Then step into the present moment, fully alive. Because faith isn't about figuring everything out, it's about walking forward, knowing He already has. Live today. Love today. Let tomorrow rest in His hands. Number 10. Ask, seek, and knock. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. With these words, Jesus didn't just describe prayer. He revealed a rhythm. Asking begins the journey. Seeking deepens it, and knocking perseveres until heaven responds. It's an invitation into partnership with God, where persistence meets promise. Asking is the language of dependence. When you ask, you're admitting you can't do it alone. You're saying, "Father, I need you." But Jesus doesn't stop there. He urges you to seek, to move from passive wishing to active pursuit. Seeking means leaning in, studying His Word, aligning your heart with His will, and being ready to move when He says go. And then comes knocking, the persistence that keeps believing, even when doors stay closed. Closed doors aren't divine rejections. Sometimes they're sacred redirections. God tests desire, not to discourage you, but to deepen you. Every unanswered prayer refines your faith, teaching you that delay isn't denial. Jesus promises that those who ask receive, those who seek find, and those who knock see doors open, not always the ones they expect, but always the ones they need. The key is consistency. Keep praying even when you're tired. Keep seeking even when you feel lost. Keep knocking even when it's quiet on the other side. Faith that endures unlocks miracles that hurry never could. God honors the heart that won't give up. So stay at the door, keep your hands steady, your voice faithful, your hope alive. Because in His perfect time, you'll hear the latch turn and realize the door you've been knocking on leads straight into His arms. And now, take a slow breath. You've walked through 10 timeless lessons, 10 quiet revolutions of the soul. Each one, when lived, reshapes how you wake, how you work, how you love, how you rest. They aren't distant commands. They're invitations into a gentler rhythm, one that beats in step with the heart of Jesus. Seek the kingdom first, and your days find order. Love deeply, and life becomes lighter. Forgive freely, and your spirit begins to breathe again. Serve humbly, and you'll discover purpose in places you once overlooked. Carry your cross, and strength will surprise you. Treat others kindly, and peace will grow like sunlight across your path. Stay connected to the vine, and you'll bear fruit that endures. Let your light shine, and darkness will lose its claim. Trust God with tomorrow, and today will finally feel enough. Ask, seek, knock, and heaven will open, quietly, faithfully, in ways only love could design. As the echoes of these lessons settle, picture yourself walking beside Jesus on a dusty road at sunset, the sky burning gold, your burdens growing lighter with every step. He doesn't rush you. He just walks, steady and sure, whispering truth into your heart. You realize you don't have to strive to belong. You already do. Let that peace linger. Let it fill your breathing, your silence, your sleep. And as the night draws close, remember, these aren't just lessons, they're life itself. Walk in them tomorrow. Live them deeply. Rest easy tonight.